Alright everybody, I don't know if you're excited about this. I'm sure you are, but this is the very last lesson that I'm going to be teaching you in this geometry class. It's Friday, so it's the last lesson. The homework assignment is going to be the review guide, and we're taking a quiz on Wednesday next week. No school next Monday. Remember, it's Memorial Day. There's no classes, nothing. If you want to take that day and get caught up on old missing work that you have, that might not be a bad idea. A couple reminders before we start a lesson today. Reminder number one, check your answers. Here they are. They're all there. You know, check them. Feel free to go back and redo them if you got them wrong, just to see if you can find your mistake. There's always power in that. But more reminders on top of that. First of all, next Wednesday is the very last day that I will be taking late work. Thursday, it's too late, folks. I'm finalizing my grades. I pretty much get to, like I said, finalize every single one of your grades in my class. And, hey, happy summer. We'll see you back in August. Hopefully, we'll see if we meet back in August. Not really sure what the governor's saying yet. But, yeah, next Wednesday is the very last day. Also, next Wednesday, not only are you taking the quiz, the Chapter 12 quiz, which is completely open notes. Use your notes. Use your formulas, everybody. You do not need to memorize any of the formulas. Have your notes in front of you. It is okay. I will put that in my description on Wednesday, just in case your parents have any questions. You can use your notes. Surface area, volume, make sure you're plugging in the right numbers. Have a scientific calculator as well, and always have a scrap piece of paper so you can work out some problems. But next Wednesday, just like what we've been doing, I need the review guide. Review guide is due next Wednesday. It's due that day, and then it's also the day that I'm going to be checking your binder. So send me your notes. This is the last time you all need to take pictures of all of your notes. Send them in my direction. This is it, folks. You're almost done. So hang in there. Check your grades on Harmony. Make sure I haven't messed anything up. I have been known to do that from time to time. If there's a mistake, shoot me an email. I'll fix it, and we'll go from there. All right, folks. I'm going to end with a very, very easy lesson. And let's go ahead and get started. 12.6. You can see I'm using the construction paper, the cardboard paper at the end of the spiral notebook. I'm out of paper. Let's do surface area and volumes of spheres. Spheres are spelled S-P-H-E-R-E-S. Spheres. Okay, we are taking care of two things for the price of one. We're taking care of surface area, and we're taking care of volume of spheres. So, doing both those there's formulas I'm going to give you. You don't have to memorize them. You certainly got to write them down in your notes. Let's start off by drawing a sphere, everybody. How do we draw a sphere? Start off with a circle. Relatively circle-ish circle. Give your circle a center. Now, as of right now, it's just a two-dimensional circle. But to make it a sphere, you sort of need to make a... Here, just watch. You'll see. Do you see the sphere? Do you see a ball, a bowling ball, a baseball, a marble? There's your sphere, everybody. It's kind of looking like a three-dimensional figure. There's the round edge on the backside that you know it's there, but you can't really see. There's your sphere. A couple things we got. Let's go ahead and do some vocabulary. Go ahead and make the line from this end point to the center, all the way through to the other end point. Here's your diameter. And half of that would be a radius, but let's do a radius in a completely different direction. Let's do a radius going right there. There's your radius, everybody. Really, the radius can be anywhere. I mean, it's going from the center to any outside edge. It could be going straight up. It could be going back. It could be going this. This is also a radius right here. If you can visualize that. Kind of hard to visualize, but that's a radius. pretty much from the center of your sphere to any outside edge. Alright, so we got the radius, we've got the diameter. Let's do a tangent line. Get my ruler here. Remember, a tangent line is a line that touches a circle, bing, at one and only point, or at this, for this figure, touches a sphere at one and only one point. So there's your tangent line. Cool. Looks good. And then the last thing I need to talk about, and you're going to see this in your homework, is this circle right here. If you were to cut your sphere in half, if you were to cut the marble in half, if you were to cut your orange in half, you'd have two halves of oranges. So one of them is called a hemisphere. You put two hemispheres together and it makes a whole sphere. We in North America live in the northern hemisphere. It's north of the equator, but they're called hemispheres. A half a sphere is called a hemisphere. This cross section right here is a circle. We actually call it, there's a special name for it in geometry. We call it the great circle. No joke, I'm not making this up. I actually had a kid either last year or 2 years ago that once I wrote this in my notes in my classroom, they didn't even raise their hand, they just started talking. They said, "Mr. Kosal, you're making this up." And I'm really not. This cross section right here is called a great circle. So if you were to cut the Earth in half at the equator and kind of, open it up, then you would see a great circle on both hemispheres. So that's what it's called right there, great circle. And I think that's it. I'm going to give you the surface area equation of a sphere, and then we're going to give you the volume equation down here. Super important. You're going to need these for your quiz next Wednesday. Speaking of which, the quiz on next Wednesday, I'm telling you, I can't give you an easier quiz. I really, really can't. You have your notes. You have a calculator. Some of you, it's going to come down to the very last quiz on whether or not you're going to pass my class. Some of you are floating at a 57 or a 58% right now. Some of you want to get an A, but you're at an 88%, maybe an 89. If you need a grade bump, this quiz is it. So do well on this quiz. Make sure you know what you're doing. All right, enough talking. Surface area equation. If you were to take a sphere and cover the outside with paint, the surface area equation is 4 pi r squared. There it is. If you were to cover the outside with paint, if you were to cover the outside surface area, it'd be 4 pi r squared. Volume, if you were to fill this Earth up with water, if you were to fill this basketball up with water. This is an interesting one. I always like this equation. It's 4/3. Talk about a weird fraction. Pi r cubed. That is the volume equation for every sphere. The 4 pi r squared, that's the surface area equation for every sphere. Perfect. All right, let's do an example, shall we? Let's go to some white paper. EX1.